So much for that report. Joining me to talk about the next step in the Pistorius trial is MSNBC legal analyst Faith Jenkins. Faith, with a welcome to you. What is the legal strategy behind Pistorius not appearing on camera and only testifying via audio?
Well, he doesn't want to be seen, but the judge will obviously be in the courtroom and be watching his every move. But the people in the media, the people watching the case, won't be able to see him. And that's his right. He probably has some privacy concerns, and he wants to be able to be forthcoming and not be nervous about all the eyes looking at him. But there's only one person that really matters the most, and she will see and be watching his every move, and that is the judge in the case.
Okay, you heard Mike Tybie's piece right there. He mentioned the text messages back and forth. You see Reva Steenkamp saying at one point that she was scared of Pistorius, but also that how sad she is and how they're not making each other happy, and that's all she wants to do.
Right.
How does he overcome this image through his testimony?
Those text messages are pretty significant because, prosecutors don't have to prove motive, right? But that's a big issue in this case. Why would he do what they are alleging he did, which is in the middle of the night, shoot her after an argument 4 times and kill her? And so those text messages sort of back up the prosecutor's story that this wasn't this loving, committed relationship that he wants everyone to believe he was involved in. There were actually some real issues here. So when he's on the witness stand, not only will he be questioned about those text messages, but he has to be believable and credible in talking about it. And it's an uphill battle for him because there are some issues here that he has to overcome. So you can believe he's going to put his best foot forward in terms of describing that relationship and how loving and committed it was prior to this incident happening.
And he's going to try to do that right off the bat. But if you're the prosecutor, how do you approach this? I mean, what's the tenor of your questions? How aggressively do you go after him? What might you even ask him at first?
I think that they'll be very aggressive. When he takes the witness stand, it's going to be his time to tell his story, right? And we've heard some of it so far, but then the prosecutors, they're going to come back and they're going to ask him the tough questions. How is it, sir, that you did not know where your fiance was and you just opened fire through a closed and locked bathroom door without knowing where Reva was at that time? How is it, sir, that you say you were in this loving, committed relationship, but she just told you a few days before that she was afraid of you? Why would she be afraid of you? What happened prior to that? And the arguments, the neighbors who said they heard the arguments and the screaming, he's going to have to answer, well, are these people just not to be believed at all? What was really going on in the house at the time?
So from the defense perspective, what is your greatest concern in Pistorius testifying? What does he need to say to convince the judge that he's innocent?
Well, his story has to be believable. I mean, when you think about the charges here, it's not about who did it. It's about his state of mind. The prosecutors want to prove that this was premeditated, if not premeditated, definitely intentional. Pistorius is saying this was an accident. So he has to be believable in telling and recounting the events of that night, how this happened and how it was an accident, how he didn't know that she was in the bathroom, how he really did believe that this was an intruder. So his credibility really means everything in terms of if the judge believes him or not.
How much do you think his status as a superstar there in South Africa, his athletic prowess and his accomplishments there, how much will that help him, or do you think that has been eradicated in South Africa?
Well, because there's no jury here, I think that that is a significant help to the prosecutors, because usually when you have a big celebrity, that is a big deal for them. It's a big advantage for them because people don't want to look at this superstar athlete that so many people respect and admire and think that he's some kind of cold-blooded killer, right? And so I think jurors, lay people, would probably give him a benefit of the doubt that he wouldn't normally have. However, here you have a professional jurist. This is a woman who has heard trials and seen murder trials and sort of heard it all. And so his celebrity factor is not going to be as much of a significant factor for her. She's looking at the evidence. She's listening to the facts, and she's looking at his demeanor in court and making a determination as to if he's telling the truth about what he's saying.
MSNBC legal analyst Faith Jenkins. Thank you, Faith. Good to see you. A man of the cloth in his mansion is the uproar